Welcome on to the next of our videos, and today we are talking about running in the heat and particularly how to acclimatize your body so that you don't really get affected by running in hot conditions. My name is Brad. I'm from CoachParry.com, where we help you become fitter, faster and stronger. And we've all had that situation where we've been training for a race or an event and we've been training at home or wherever we live, and we arrive at the event and it's a good few degrees hotter than what we used to. It's a bit more humid and we really struggle on race day. The good news is there is a way to mitigate that, and we're going to talk exactly how on today's video. We're joined by our coach, Lindsay Parry, and he's got some great advice for you, so make sure you stick around for that. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you don't miss any of our videos. We put a new video out every single week. All you need to do is hit the subscribe button that's on the screen right now, and you'll be able to get notifications every time we upload one, and you'll be able to get all the info that you need. Enough of me yakking. Let's head over to our coach. Lindsay, we're talking about running in very hot conditions today and sort of what heat does to your body's physiology when you're running. Often we don't understand it until we get in those sorts of positions. What makes running in hot conditions so challenging?
Yeah, so very simply, our bodies struggle once they get too hot to function because the proteins that we rely heavily on in terms of the integrity and structure of our cells and some of the functioning of our cells start to degrade when it gets too hot. So temperature and altitude are the two biggest hindrances to performance. And once you get into a very hot environment, once your body starts to struggle to get rid of the heat, because remember, when we are exercising, we are like little engines. So think of yourself as a steam train. And the more energy you need, the hotter that furnace is going to burn. And then we need to get rid of that heat. And if we cannot get rid of that heat, we call it down-regulating. Your body will force you to, some of it is psychosomatic, but your body essentially sends out signals. You start to feel really bad because your body has to slow down the intensity because it's got to turn down the stove. Because if it doesn't turn down the stove, you are going to run into serious physiological stress, which can actually be quite dangerous. If you go into heat stress, that can be life-threatening. So essentially, it forces you to slow down because that's the other way that the body can cool itself, because it stops generating so much heat.
Obviously, you want to manage that process before you get to that point. What are some things that we can do as runners to regulate our temperature while running, particularly in hot environments, and keep ourselves cool while we're out there?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things, and obviously the first part and the easiest part is to immediately do things to ourselves that keep us cool right now. Okay, so we lose a lot of heat from our forehead. And of course, when you're exercising in a hot, humid environment, the first thing we should be doing is putting on a hat, because that hat protects you from the sun, and the sun, of course, does its own damage. So I would not suggest running without a hat. But you are now blocking one of the very efficient places for your body to lose heat. So you want to keep that wet and cool, because if that is wet and cool, then it can still act as a conductor and you can lose heat out of the top of your head. In there is another clue. If you do keep your skin wet with water, and cold water in particular, that is a really good way for your body to then release heat. If you're exercising in a very hot but dry environment, it's not nearly as severe, because then you can lose loads of heat from evaporative cooling. So you'll want to have clothing, very light, moisture-wicking material that quickly takes stuff to the surface and evaporates. And when it evaporates, there's a lot of cooling that takes place. In very hot, humid environments, that doesn't happen. And that's when using cool fluids becomes very important, to regularly douse yourself with that. And then there are a number of garments on the market at the moment. The one that I've personally experimented with is E-Cool line, but there are a couple. And what they have done with those garments is they have bandanas, caps, arm sleeves, and a t-shirt, like shirts essentially, but they are a little bit thicker, and they have substance that when it becomes wet chemical reaction forms which causes that suit to cool down. So those are some of the ways. Sorry, and I forgot, the neck is also an extremely effective way. So you can have a cool buff. So if you have a buff on you and you keep that wet with cold water, or you wear an ice necklace, if you're in extreme hot conditions, you can take a pair of stockings and put blobs of ice in those stockings and hang that around your neck and down your t-shirt. That'll slowly melt and dribble down. So those are things that we can do while we're on the move, and people can pass you these various items when they're seconding you. But we can also prepare our bodies to cope better with the heat. And we can do that in two ways, essentially. That is to exercise in heat, and thereby cause adaptations which teach our body to cool much more efficiently in those type of conditions. So we can do that by running in the middle of the day or the hottest part of the day. Please use suntan lotion, wear a cap and sunglasses to protect yourself from the sun. Or you can get on a treadmill and work in a very heated room. And if the sort of environment that you are in doesn't allow for either of those, you can get into a sauna. And you can spend between 10 and 30 minutes for 2 sessions a week. And those 2 sessions a week will cause a lot of changes, physiological changes that will make you far better to cope with exercising and racing in hot and humid environments.
Lindsay, how long does that adaptation take? Is it a constantly ongoing process, or is there a time frame before? Let's say you were doing a goal race that was in a climate a lot hotter than you were used to. Is there a set period of time that you should be doing it, or should you be doing all your training trying to acclimatize?
So I think it's very similar to trying to adapt to altitude. So essentially, when you move to altitude, once you've been there for 6 hours, you're more adapted than you were when you arrived. When you've been there 12 hours, so on and so forth, until probably 7 to 10 days, you get full adaptation. So if you are going to go to a very key race, something like Kona is a great example. It's very far away, time zones that you've got to move across, extremely hot and humid. You could go to a place like that for 7 to 10 days before the race, and you'll undergo quite a lot of adaptation. That said, 1 sauna session will make adaptations. 2 sauna sessions will make further. And so if I was training for that kind of event personally, I would start between, or at least 6 weeks out, up to 12 weeks out. I would start going to the sauna twice a week and building that up all the way up into including race day.
Thanks for joining us on this video. Don't forget, if you don't want to miss any of these videos that we put out, hit the subscribe button over here. You can catch our latest video over here, and one of our most popular is over here. And also, if you want to shave 10 minutes off your PB, all you need to do is download our free strength training program. You can get that right here.